some people.
Yeah, what's up?
Good evening and welcome to WorldWideChels presents Uncle Jesters BBQ. I am Uncle Jester and I'm here with three of my good friends, and I invite you all to get your favorite adult beverage poured, get some scratch off lottery tickets, and maybe roll a spliff or two. All things that people might be offended by. Of course,
What do you got, Steve? What do you got right there?
Is some local, made in New Hampshire, what's it called? Whiskey. Rocky Peak Hard Cinnamon. It's so
Hard
good, man.
cinnamon.
Yeah.
Jared, this is taking polls before the winter formal.
Nice. It's nice.
That's all right.
Nice.
Lewis was drinking something blue last night.
I don't, Lewis. Oh
I don't. I'm like, dude, it's blue.
You've got to be kidding! I'm going to give him so much shit for that. Oh, what a jabron!
What a narcissist!
Oh my, was he drinking Hypnotic? Is that what he was drinking? You remember that shit, Jared? Right?
All I remember is we used to have something when we were younger. We called it Smurf juice, and I think it was blue Hawaiian schnapps or something like that.
Yeah. So Hypnotic is cognac, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And it's just fucking awful. All right, so we're gonna get into this, Jared. Let's say hello to everybody, and then we got some topics, y'all. I'm not even gonna fucking lie. It is it's gonna be a doozy. Some people are gonna be. I don't know how people are gonna react to this, Jared.
Oh, I've already gone into it this morning, so I do.
Good.
I saw it.
All right, well, introduce us to what happened this morning.
So I was on Carefree Lewis G's stream this morning.
Scream?
And,
Scream or scream?
It was a scream, bro.
Exactly.
It actually was a scream. It turned into a bit of madness. But look, my take was, if you are upset about the sponsorship based on your religious beliefs, which I respect, fine. You have your religious beliefs, fine. But you cannot be halfway on that crap, okay? Because every game, there are bet and gambling ads scrolling through the stadium on the big boards. They celebrate Gay Pride Month in the EPL. Okay, so you cannot be selective with your outrage. You're either all in or you're all out. But
all
don't
in
be halfway.
or all out. All in or all out in terms of like vices, right?
Right. If your religion has a bunch of vices you're not supposed to be involved in, and you're just selectively checking off the ones you're okay with, that makes you a hypocrite.
So let's make this into broader context here. Is it Steak? Steak.com?
Yeah.
Steak.com is going to be our one-off shirt sponsor for this season. Now, the issue is that whether it was Bowley really canceling the thing or 3 just going away, the 3 sponsorship, which was around £40 million per year, has disappeared. That's $51 million for anybody that's counting. It's American. Great. That's a lot of money per year for a shirt sponsor. It is a lot. Okay. And we were offered a considerably less lucrative situation with Allianz. Anybody knows Allianz? Allianz, they're the stadium sponsor for Bayern Munich.
German insurance company.
And Minnesota United, most
Allianz is all over the place, right? But they offered us 20 mil. Okay, that's not gonna cut it.
That's some chump change.
It is chump change for a large club.
Yeah.
Now, the other context of this is that in 2026, so fall of 2026, the Premier League is not going to be allowed to have gambling sponsors on their jerseys anymore. But that's 3 years away. Okay, that's 3 years away. 3 years is a long time. 3 years is a lifetime in sports. Okay, so for now, what we've decided to do is go with Stake.com, betting company, gambling company. Ooh. And they're going to give us £40 million. Again, that's $51 million for a 1-year sponsorship. And I imagine that with that 1 year, the marketing team will spend that entire year finding a long-term sponsor for this club. But for now, we get 40 million pounds. We go with a gambling company. It's one of the oldest vices in the world. It's also one of the most important economies in the United Kingdom, and now one of the most important economies in America. It's money, baby. And guess what? It's really good money. And for 1 year, which allows us a reprieve to find a new sponsor, I have no fucking problem with it. That is the context of what we're talking about now. People are up in arms with it, whether it's religious people, okay, whose religion does, forbids gambling and drinking. Okay, got it. Every religion has their customs. That's fine. I used to be religious myself. And they said that I couldn't have sex before I was married, and I must be going to hell 1,000 times. Okay, and then you also have people that say that gambling causes anxiety, depression, and suicide. Okay, got it, because gambling is an addiction. Okay, that's the context. Those are the arguments. You got the religious fans, and you got the fans that say that gambling is bad for you. Okay, Jared, here we go.
Yeah, look, addiction by itself is the issue. Okay, if you're an addict, you're going to find something to be addicted to. If it's not gambling, it's drugs. If it's not drugs, it's alcohol. If it's food, whatever it is, buying jerseys, playing
that
Pokemon.
Genuinely is my addiction.
No shit.
I mean, addiction.
No shit.
Addiction is one of those things that you can't say, well, it's this particular vice's issue. Addiction runs across all vices. And for those of you who I've run into this already, say it destroys more family than alcohol. I don't know where in the hell you think you got those numbers from.
Such a fake stat. That is a bullshit stat.
Alcohol killed, I think, under the age of 65 in the United States, it accounts for 13% of the deaths. Alcohol does.
Yeah, and Jared, not to mention, it's alcohol-related deaths as well.
Yeah.
We're talking about car crashes. We're talking about cancer. All right, you're talking about hypertension. You're talking about a whole other things because what alcohol really does is it just weakens you. It disallows a Krebs cycle within your body, and it just completely deteriorates your body from the inside out. I would know. I've drank a lot of it in my life.
Brain function.
Yeah,
It impairs you, right?
Yeah,
and that's why they say don't drive impaired, right?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that over time it will deteriorate your brain. You will lose motor function. You will lose memory. I mean, there are links with it to Alzheimer's. There are links with it to diabetes. I mean, it is a killer. And so, but yet, no one has a problem with alcohol sponsor. Oh, no.
I think Coors sponsored one of our jerseys.
In the 90s, yeah.
It's not even real beer.
Carling? I mean, give me a break, bro. It's a bunch of it. So here's going to be my retort, and then everybody can go, all right? If we're talking about addiction, if we're talking about vices, and I'm the king of vices, I've got all of them, and I apologize for none of them, all right? If we're going to talk about all of that, okay, the number one killer, Jared, what's the number one killer of all men?
Horse tranquilizer from Ecuador or Colombia.
What is it, Jared?
Heart disease.
It's heart disease, okay? It is arteriosclerosis, all right? It is bad food, clogging your arteries, suffocating your heart. You have a heart attack, you die. That is the number one killer of man. All right, what is the number one contributor to teen suicide? Number one contributor to teen depression? It's social media. Okay?
I was actually going to say that, but I thought it was going to be alcohol.
No, it's social media. Yeah. So if you have all of these keyboard warriors, these sanctimonious douchebags that want to come on the internet and say that gambling causes depression and that we shouldn't be associated with it, gambling causes addiction, that we shouldn't be associated with it. Okay, well then what the Score said is even more hyperbolic. The Score 01, that media account, it said that we should no longer be advertising anything that is addictive. Okay, so here's the deal. If heart attacks are the number one killer of mankind, then what we should no longer be able to do is advertise food, especially food that's bad for you. And you know what food is bad for you? The best kinds. The best kinds. So now, according to that logic, we can't advertise food anymore. Okay, that grows a large percentage of marketing revenue. All right.
Or you can't sell food.
Second
in the
thing,
stadium.
you can't promote things on social media, and you can't promote social media companies. There goes Meta. There goes Instagram. There goes TikTok. There goes Twitter. There goes Truth Social, if you're into that. Right? All of those things gone. You can't associate with them. You can't promote your brand on them because you don't want to be associated with addiction. No, Tom Overend and company. No. If you want to be this sweeping with your criticism, okay, then you better be completely blanketed in this. You better be all fucking in with your faux altruism, with your sanctimonious bitchery. You better give me all or nothing because this a la carte pick and choose bullshit, doesn't work. Doesn't work. You can't just pick and choose which vices you don't like and which vices agree with your lifestyle. Bullshit. You either accept all of them or you accept none of them. And guess what? If you want to be respectful of cultures, if you want to be respectful of, we went to the Qatar World Cup and the host nation said, respect our culture. We said, good. You're the host. We're the guests. We get it. We totally get it, right? And for the most part, we did respect their culture. And then it was an awesome World Cup. Qatar was a great host. Okay? Yeah. England hosts the Premier League. England has its own culture. Respect their culture because their culture consists of beer, it consists of smoking, it consists of gambling, and it consists of half-cooked bacon sandwiches. That's their fucking culture, okay? No one is going to tell them how they can operate and how they can make money because it's their own fucking culture, and God damn it, they invented the sport. That's what I have to say.
Who wants to go next?
I mean, like, bro, I don't care if they advertise Pornhub for all I give. You could put Brazzers on the shirt.
Bro,
I don't
I'll be
really
Bang
care.
Bros Stadium. I'll be Bang Bros Stadium.
I honestly, I don't care. I understand that certain people, I understand the certain individuals that were affected. Like, for example, I'm the, one of the Chelsea YouTubers I like watching is The Other Side of the Coin, and he said that. Like he put out something last night and he did a video of Eunice and he talked about his battle with addiction and gambling. The difference is though is that Miz is a reasonable guy and that he was just saying his side of the story. So I don't think he's being altruistic and all of the blah 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 blah. For me, if you don't like it, that's fine. But he also understood that it's England compared to because obviously he practices Islam, so
that's fine. That's fine.
So, but for me, like it's all about having a reasonable opinion. You know what I'm saying? I can't blame people that were personally affected. Bro, I mean, gambling wise over my life, I think I checked. I'm only down 1,200. So compared to the other horror stories that I've heard from people over my lifetime, over like 3 years, it's not that bad. But I mean, it's not good, but it is what it is, man. Hey, bro, it happens. But I think it's good to promote, what's it called? Responsible gambling, responsible whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I understand if it's emotionally that's something that affects the individual. I completely get that. But just because something happened in your personal life don't mean that it has to be enforced throughout the world because that's unrealistic. And again, that's why I referenced Miz from The Other Side of the Coin. He was upset about it on a personal level. And he also gave a logical reason. He was like, maybe we could have done a better sponsor. And you know what I'm saying? For me, if you're respectful about it and you got like, if you're not shoving something down someone's throat there, I think it's fine. If you don't like it, that's your thing. What you choose to do after is also on you. I mean, for me, I don't really care.
I got to get Fatur in here. Fatur, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah.
The thing is that with addiction of gambling, and I've been partly myself involved a lot of things that involve gambling, like casinos.
Me too.
Have you guys watched a video with Pie Face and Paul Merson the other day? So he mostly talked about the adrenaline of that gambling, and I
Yeah.
just think that from the club's perspective is that I think they somehow took out the morale side of things and it more kind of focus on the aspect of earning some monies from the sponsorship, and this is what we're gonna have to deal with next season, and that and how the fans would get behind the board if one thing, because I think that the morale is also important, because I think that most of the Chelsea fans, some people don't know, is mostly are religious Chelsea fans, and we're dealing some mental health in that. And I, my concern is that let's say if this sponsorship goes on over a year, then what will happen the next year then? Because let's say if we get top four and then also get some domestic cups along the way, then they're going to extend the sponsorship. But other than that, I just think at the moment, I'm not happy by that decision by the board going to go with that sponsorship. I
Okay.
would have preferred to go with the kind of sponsor like Allianz Life Insurance. There's lots of life insurance sponsorship out there than Allianz, in my opinion, and yeah, like I think they need to have a second thought about what's the morale of the football club, but also from the fans' perspective, because without fans, there's no Chelsea Football Club.
But Fatur, I have to ask you this. You said that most Chelsea fans are religious. Are you sure?
I mean,
And what religion? I mean, what religion are we talking about here? Because I grew up Catholic. Okay, I went to Catholic
Yeah, same.
elementary, middle, college, post grad, all Catholic. I'm not religious anymore. But
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
either.
Catholicism, their main thing is no sex before marriage. Okay, but it has nothing to do with alcohol or gambling or any of that shit. So, I mean, what religion are you talking about? Because England is it's a pretty secular society.
And the Premier League is advertised and shown all around their Chelsea fans and top six fans and fans of a lot of Premier clubs all around the world.
So I have to ask that. I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just curious as to what
Yeah, me neither.
perspective what you mean.
the thing is with that religion question that you asked for. Yes, we all know some Chelsea fans. I think it's all about the morale in that, because all
Sure.
Chelsea fans, from what I know, is very deeply religious. Every time, even before pre-match, like I've read some stuff about even before the game, some fans going even to the mosque just for a deep prayer and
Okay.
have a have a
So-
complete kind of state in the mind and have a think again. And I don't know, man. It's hard to tell at this time, but come back to me maybe later on.
No, you're good.
Need to
It's a
dissect.
tough topic. And look, I'm just saying it from my perspective. And Srinath, I'll get to you right now. But my perspective is simply this: football and religion are two separate things. And I just don't feel as though the sensibilities of one, two, or three religions should have an effect on the business goings of a football club, because football is a secular thing. It's not a religious sport. It's a sport in and of itself. A-religious, not religious.
It's supposed to unite people of all different creeds, you know, what that kind
Yeah, I
of
mean, it's a cosmopolitan game. It's not
Yeah.
a game designed for one or a few sects.
It's for
of
everyone.
culture. It is most certainly for everybody. So that is my
Yeah.
point: is that if gambling is not for you, it doesn't have to be. You know that I know that when you go to like Manchester United Stadium, you go to Old Trafford, I mean, right next to the beer stand and the pretzel stand is Bet One. You know, there's a bet stand and a bet kiosk right next to the beer. I get it, but it's always been like that. And the reason that it's become more accelerated is because America's gotten into it. It's because America over the last 2 years is now a gambling nation. So everything's become more heightened.
The thing is, it's not even that. I feel like, let's say because most of you guys see 2 advert or 3 adverts during a game to and the ESA for access for. I think that for young people, shirt sponsors will have a little no effect when all that's going on. I think also by that logic is that people are using that we shouldn't have used we shouldn't have used that Whalefin sponsor last year. So Whalefin, for those who don't know, is a crypto company and therefore has the same principle as gambling. So no guarantee winners, easy for kids access, and you can lose a lot of money no matter how much you know on the subject. Yet you didn't see people complain about that.
Josh, my man, in the comments.
Yeah, but the other thing about Whalefin, the difference between crypto and gambling is that in gambling, okay, you actually know what's going to happen at the end of the game. You could tell it's a zero-sum game. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. In crypto, man, it's
All investment
that is a Ponzi scheme. That's not one's going to win, one's going to lose, and you can understand and accept the outcome. No, crypto is something far more grifty than that. All right, Srinath, what do you got, buddy?
So I've been hearing a lot of comments on this, but there's things which I personally don't get into, and one of this is others' opinion on their belief and their religion. Your belief, your religion is yours, and I respect it to the utmost level.
Mhm.
It's that the football is today a sport and a business. It's never been a sport for the common, gathering. It has become a sport of money-generating business. And let's say I go for Alliance and I get like a 20 million deal. Next time when I go for a sponsor, where do I start from? Do I start from a 40 million or do I start from a 20 million? My negotiating power would reduce the moment I start reducing my sponsors.
Yes.
Let's have business away from the sport. I've seen Frank Ribery not touching a beer glass because of his religion.
Yeah.
That is religion. That is belief. And his whole team supported that. They had beer, but they didn't take the beer next to him or shove it on his face or do all sorts of crazy things. Because that's respect. Whereas whenever there is a beer festival, whenever there is, that Oktoberfest, my bad.
Yeah,
Whenever-
October,
No, Beer Fest and October. No, they're the same thing.
yeah. So that's when they express their joy. They enjoy the culture of Germany, but they also respect the Muslims in Germany by not giving the alcohol to Muslims.
Sure.
So let us maintain that respect, that mutual respect when we go for these kind of activities. That would be my only point to advocate.
Well, I do appreciate that, but Srinath, from the business aspect, if we took 20 million, our next leveraging point would be 20 million. He's 100% right on that.
What does leveraging point mean? Sorry.
So, so when this sponsorship goes down, let's say we did Allianz for 2 years, right?
Okay.
Allianz at 20 mil, when the previous deal that we had with 3 was 40 million pounds. And then all of a sudden we reduce our marketability, we reduce our position by saying we will take 20. So then the next company that comes in and wants to do us long term, they will start at 20 instead of 40. That is reducing our leveraging point by half. It's really bad business.
So basically what you're saying is that it's kind of like if you're known as a cheap seller or a high ball. Like you want to set it high. Like for example, everyone knows with Levy, he'll try to lowball. So that's his precedent. Right. So you got to get.
You're only as good as your reputation. You are what your reputation says. Right. Alfred, what do you got, man?
Man, I just want to say, good to see you, lads, as always. Yeah. And it's good to see you landing the absolute minerals, because I've agreed with everything you have said. For me, I've got no problem with this sponsorship deal. Nope. Brilliant. If the club thinks it can make a deal that's going to make them a lot of money, then good, go for it. I can't. I mean, while I understand people's opinions, I hate how deep they are going into it. It's the whole. We should not promote this sort of thing. It's like you said at the start of the stream. Why don't we stop? Why don't we stop doing anything? Basically, almost almost everything in the world, basically, you could make an argument that for one reason or another, why we shouldn't promote it. So this is just another one of those things. Gambling itself, while it can cause problems and has, fair enough, to many people, gambling itself is not the issue that makes people do what they do. I gamble every weekend, but not to a point where I know it's going to affect my life. I put a few dollars on a couple of football games, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, gambling, like anything else in the world, can be dangerous only if you use it in excess and don't do it properly. So again, you cannot just come up with every single sponsor that wants to join us and say, oh, but we shouldn't do it for this reason, we shouldn't do it for that reason. Otherwise, you can come up to any single fucking sponsor in the world and give a reason why we shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, Jared, I think you and me, at the end of the day, you and I just don't appreciate hypocrisy. It's like, I'll say, okay, well, phone addiction, ridiculous. I mean, especially with people in that are between the age of maybe 15 and 25. Like, phone addiction is ridiculous. They're all on their phones when they're driving. They're on their phones when they're walking. They're on their phones when they're supposed to be talking to their friends, family. And I'm like, okay, so if we want to make the addiction angle, we can no longer do business sponsorship deals with carriers. We can no longer do business with cell phone companies. Yeah, because if you're going to make that standard, if you're going to pick and choose like that, okay, then you're just a fucking hypocrite.
I mean, we also got to acknowledge the fact that advertising is not for just some random purpose, right? If you're advertising a product, you want that person to use it and then use it again and again and again, right? So that goes for any product, any service. And like you said, some people drink responsibly, some people don't.
But it's on them. But it's on them.
It's on them. And the thing is that we have so many resources now in the world. That is one of the benefits of social media and technology and communication. If you have a problem with gambling or with whatever you're dealing with, you can go and call someone. There are suicide hotlines. There are all these resources out there. And like, if you just promote those more, then people, it's out there, man. It's out there. So I mean, for me, like you said, it's where do you draw the line with the people are gonna gamble anyways, even if you don't get the sponsor. There will be Chelsea fans that gamble, even if it wasn't your sponsor. Yeah, bro.
So let's put a nice bow on this, so we can move on to actual football stuff. I know that's been clamoring for it. Do not look to businesses for your morality, because every business is amoral. Okay, they're there to make money. They don't care who they have to screw over, if they need to use little kids for labor. They don't care. They're there to make money. So stop this nonsense. Your morality comes from you. Okay?
What you can control.
You can control yourself. You can't control anybody else. They're going to do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. So now that that's been said, let's move on to actual football.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Jared.
We've got a lot of connections with Moises Caicedo, probably the best DM prospect out there. And don't even talk to me about Declan Lice.
Declan Lice.
No,
Lice,
baby. We've been talking about gambling. Declan Lice.
Riddling mice.
Oh.
So Moises Caicedo, for me, is the top DM prospect on the market right now. And we need to move heaven and earth to go get him. And if that includes including players in the deal, which we can get into the minutia of how that would work, then we have to go do it. And that's my broad statement on it. Let's delve into this. Who wants to go first on Caicedo?
Me.
Yeah, go
okay,
for it.
Shrina, have at it.
Yeah, buddy.
First and foremost, I would just want to take 1 minute of your time to say thank you to Ben Jacobs for that lovely stream. He
yeah.
was so to the point. He explained everything so precisely to hash out all the myths, the agendas, etc., etc. So big up to Ben Jacobs. And if you honestly ask me about Caicedo, I'd say he is the younger, more meaner version of Kante. I'd love to have him, even if it means that we get rid of some of our best players in Conor Gallagher. So I'd love to see it. It's a win-win, 1,000 times win for me. Trust me.
Fatur.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm excited for this deal, and I've been hearing that we wanted number 8/6, and I think this is the best bunch out there that we can get. And yeah, man, I'm excited to see what Poch gonna do with this system, but I'm also realistic that that Poch I have a full confidence that Poch will do it somehow. That he can play Caicedo as a 6 and Enzo, and also you never know, we might get another DM like some Lavia from Southampton. So
Hey, what do you think about the prospect of bringing in Andre Santos also to be in that mix there, Fatur?
oh yeah, I think he's a good prospect.
Mhm.
And did he just what's it called? His visa got accepted as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so this kid there, I can see in the next couple of years' time, he might be our important DM. But at the moment, I think it's just that development stage to get into the Premier League and how he can cope that into the physicality in the Premier League. It's not going to be that easy. People have been hyping the baby Casemiro and that, but yeah, it's going to take time to get into that first team, man.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you about, Fatur, you got Andy Naylor on Twitter. Now, Andy Naylor is he's a writer for The Athletic, but before he was a writer for The Athletic, and he particularly covers Brighton, he was a beat writer for a Brighton paper. So this is a Brighton writer. And his writing said that the Brighton minimum will be £100 million. And as soon as The Athletic promoted that under his name, but under that umbrella, okay, Fabrizio Morano came out publicly on his YouTube show maybe an hour later and said, no, Brighton will be asking for around £80 million instead of 100. And so I'm asking you, do you think that we can bring that down even more with someone like Conor Gallagher?
Ooh, I think Conor Gallagher going to Spurs, bro.
You think so?
I think it's going there.
Well, for me, it's still money in. I don't care where he goes because we'll still be able to get 40 back regardless, right?
Yeah. So realistically, you can have Gallagher's going to Spurs, Mount going to United, Kai Havertz going to Arsenal apparently, as far as I heard.
Bayern.
Kovacic going to Man City. So you can make all four players around like 180 million, and that's a massive profit, though, in my opinion.
Yeah,
massive profit.
And go ahead, buddy.
We need to use our money in a good way. And I've hearing some criticize from a lot of people that Todd Bowley might be overspending on this type of player and not getting any top player in a serious way. Look, I understand the frustration of it, but at the same time, you've got. I think we've been kind of like being sold by these streams, like, oh, if we buy young players, we might becoming a better club in the future. And at the moment, I think that's a problem that we have on our fan base, that we've been sold by dreams, but at the same time, you got to realize that I think the only way for this club to be sustainable in the future is to keeping keeping also developing these kind of players in a good way, and hopefully by the time in the next 4 years time, some of these players will have a trophy, or they will get fed up and then they might start looking for other options.
Yeah. I mean, so Alfred and Jared, the other thing that Ben said that I found just so spot on, because he was doing a lot of myth busting. He called it myth busting, right? Saying things like, Paul West-Stanley is absolutely being used as a scapegoat when none of these people, not Alex Goldberg or the fucking Pope, know what Paul West-Stanley does at Chelsea. No one does. No one knows what's on his daily agenda. Okay? And I used agenda in the right context, a to-do list. Like, nobody knows what these people do. And to be so presumptuous as to create conjecture of it as if it's fact. Oh, he's responsible for this bad transfer. Bullshit. Right? That's what Ben Jacobs was doing yesterday. But the other thing he did was he said that every time we're bringing a big amount of money for a player, 60, 70, 80 million, this will cover a couple transfers if you look at it from an amortization perspective, right? So if we're selling 4 players between 50 and 80 million, that's a lot of money, Fatur. That's a lot of money, Jared. That will cover a lot of sins.
Yep.
Absolutely. And again, that's how finance actually works. Your sales go 100% on your books, whether you get all the money up front or not. If you sell a player for 80 million pounds, you put 80 million pounds on your ledger, whether that money's there or not. When you buy a player, you only have to put the amortized amount every year on your ledger. So if you buy an 80 million pound player on a 4-year deal, we're doing it because it's simple math this way, you only have to put 20 million of outgoing. So that could cover 4 80 million pound players on a 4-year contract.
Yeah. Now,
That's
the
how it
idea,
works.
and the idea, Jared, is that obviously you can't all of a sudden just keep buying players and not sell anymore, right? So the idea is that obviously, in theory, you're going to be paying that money anyway, but this is a way to spread it out.
Right. And this is what I tried to explain to Arsenal fans the other day is
Good luck with that.
you think you have money, but you don't. Because when was the last time you got a bunch of money for player sales? When? Yeah. Tell me the last person you sold for a hazard type fee. You can't, because it never happened. That is why they can't go and spend 200 million pounds in the midfield. Like they were saying, oh, we're going to get Rice and Caicedo. No, you're not, because you can't spend 200 million pounds because that's your whole transfer budget. If it's that, and that's why they might not even get Declan Rice, because guess what? Man City's sitting over there going, we got this guy Calvin Phillips on our bench. We don't really want him to sit on our bench anymore. Let's just ship him over plus cash to West Ham and go get Declan Rice ourselves.
Tasty.
Bro, and look at what Man City's outgoings have been. They made a hell of a lot of money on Sterling, Jesus, and Zinchenko last summer.
Yep.
Look at the previous window to that. I believe they sold.
Oh, they sold the kid to Barcelona.
Yes.
Ferran Torres, yeah.
Ferran Torres. There you go. There's another one. Arsenal, I think the last.
Oh, no,
I
and
think
the center back. And the center back.
I think he was a free.
He was. Oh, you know what? You're right. He was
a crappy Spanish one.
He sucked, by the way. He sucks.
Yeah.
Garcia.
Yeah, Garcia's trash. Bro, I'm trying to think of the last. Didn't Arsenal in like 2016 sell Oxlade-Chamberlain for like 35? I think that's the highest they've gotten for a player.
What about Lice Sanchez?
I think he was he was in the 20s, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong.
Sanchez was around 29 or 30.
Yeah, so because they wanted to get rid of Nicolas Pepe, but nobody wanted to buy him.
Right. So again, they bought out all those contracts with Ozil and all those guys.
Yeah,
they've done some more.
Aubameyang.
Yeah, they just don't have the revenue on their books.
Oh, there was a swap deal, Jared. It was a swap deal with Mkhitaryan.
Oh, okay. So they got nothing on that.
Yeah.
So they can say, well, the owners are rich. The owners can only put so much money into the club legally.
Yeah.
Okay. They can't just sit there and juice the club. I said legally before anybody goes, well, Man City. I said legally.
Yeah. Important
And speaking
caveat.
of which, I saw some of the comments which Jared, you retorted correctly, saying that academy is for the first team. No, academy is to generate revenue. It's a revenue stream.
That's exactly what it's been.
I think the other Arsenal sale that they got some good money for kind of recently. No, it was almost 3 seasons ago was Willock to us. They sold him for like 25 or 30.
But that's not covering a whole bunch of
No, yeah.
transfers.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to. That's
By
how.
the way, good business by Newcastle. Joe Willock's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, I like Willock.
I like
do
him
How's his
too.
hammy?
Yeah. Huh?
How's his hammy? He did
It's
his
all right
hamstring.
actually. He was fine with injuries this year, to be fair.
Well, he did his hamstring with the last game of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So, Alfred, let's put a bow on this one, but I got to ask you, man, look at Chelsea actually buying the players that we need. Not hybrid players, not players that can maybe play D mid or striker, but we're going after players of which they are that position.
Yeah, it's I just want to say as well. We were talking about our outgoings before. I think that this is possibly the biggest one of the biggest transfer periods in Chelsea history in terms of outgoings, because I don't think we have ever had at one time so many players that either don't want to be here or just have to go because the team has been so poor. That they either don't want to be here or they've been here for a decent amount of time now, and it's clear that they should go. So I just hope that we capitalize on this and get rid of most of these players, and then we can very comfortably do exactly what you just said. Go and get these players that we need to get, and absolutely do it right, because we can't afford to screw up anymore, man. We got a very good opportunity here to right a lot of wrongs that we've had these last few years, and I just hope we can. But yeah, I'm very happy with our new owners. Despite of what a lot of people say, they're ruining the club. Fuck off! No, they're not. What would you be saying if they didn't buy anybody? If you didn't want to spend it? You can't win with these people, mate. Just shut the fuck up and accept and respect that we have owners that are doing the complete opposite of what you're saying. You're absolute dickheads, and showing massive initiative and care for this club's success. I can't wait for this transfer window to go on and see what we do, because we're going to do good shit.
So before we transition to players like Declan Rice, Nico Barella, and Kai Havertz, we got to introduce Chelsea's first signing of the summer, Jared. Hello, Nick Jackson.
Is it a done deal?
Is it official?
We just bought you from Villarreal.
Is it
Yeah,
official?
man.
Is it on Chelsea's Twitter or something?
No. That would be the last place you'd see it. But the idea is that personal terms have already been agreed. They have a release clause. This has been going on for 2 weeks, and it looks as though Nicholas Jackson is going to be a Chelsea striker for us. Now, is he going to be the striker? I don't think so. This is a backup. But what I think that they're doing is that I think that they want 2 players to every position, Man City style. Holla at your boy Pep. And I think this is great.
But that also means that Broja's gone.
Could be.
40 million pounds right there.
I mean,
Right on the
look,
books.
you know who likes Broja? That crazy Italian, ADL. ADL likes Broja.
And Brighton does.
Yeah.
I've heard he could be one. Conor could be one. Again, look, these guys are pure profit out of the academy. If you can get somebody like a Nick Jackson, I have not seen him kick a ball, and I'm not watching compilation videos to make my assessment of a player. That's
what I'm for.
Yeah, that's what we got this guy up here for. He watches every game. He's watching two islands battling it out. Right.
I thought you meant he watches compilation videos and pretends to be an authority on
Hell
soccer.
no.
Okay, gotcha.
What, Martinique and
St. Lucia. Yeah.
St. Lucia. Yeah. Okay, dude, watching islands that most of y'all can't find on the freaking globe.
Yeah.
All right. So that's why we have somebody that knows what they're talking about for other leagues, so we can actually say, hey, have you watched this guy and what does he look like? So I'm gonna let you go. Have you watched this guy and what does he look like?
Yeah, I like Nico Jackson. It's definitely been his breakout year at Villarreal. He's a big guy, but he's quick, 6'1".
He's fast.
He is lightning quick. Yeah. Villarreal are a very good counter-attacking team. You know, Trigueros, Gerard Moreno will also have some hold-up play. Yeremy Pino, another really good player at Villarreal. Chukwueze. They got a bunch of nice. Yeah, they got a bunch of nice attacking guys. So yeah, I think it's a good signing for you guys. I don't know how much it is or whatever, but bro, this guy is legit. I think he could be either be a good backup or, I mean, bro, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit with players. You never know. I like him a lot though. I like him a lot. Technically sound, good first touch. Like I said, he's super quick. Good sub off the bench.
Sure.
Like I said, it is his breakout year. He's only 21. He still played about, I believe, 40-something games for Villarreal. 12 goals, 4 or 5 assists in La Liga for Villarreal as well. Yeah, good player, man. That's what the scouting is for. That's what the scouting's for, because you guys are the first ones to snap up on Nico Jackson, compared to if he, let's say he had another year and he got 20 goals and 7 assists, then that price tag goes up. So
let me ask you this: does he compare to the guy that you guys signed out of the same league in Isak? Is he similar? Would you say that their games are similar? So, because I would like some reference.
I'm not great at player comparisons. For me, Nico Jackson, like Isak, he'll kind of score more of the traditional striker goals, poaching kind of. Nico he does a lot of his damage for me on the counter. Definitely, he's got loads and loads of energy. I think he's good, bro. I think he's good. He's a player I would take in Newcastle in a heartbeat. But yeah, good signing.
All right, Fadur and Shanath, this is what David Ornstein says. And when David Ornstein and Ben Jacobs speak, that is gospel. Chelsea has agreed terms with Nicholas Jackson and intend to strike a deal with Villarreal. 35 million euro release clause. 21-year-old striker has committed. 35 million euro. So probably
27.
Yeah.
Something like
so
that.
when Ornstein speaks, he means it. Fatur, Shanath, what are we thinking, man? Backup striker, good deal.
I feel it's
This
a good
was
deal.
unexpected, to be honest. And I haven't watched enough of Nicholas Jackson to make a judgment. But the numbers that I've seen are ridiculous. And these aren't the stats of a 35 million player at all. I'm kind of curious to have a detailed investigation on it. And a 21-year-old who's statistically among the best in the La Liga at finishing, movement, a bunch of attributes as a crucial striker. You can tell at least it's 16 M's, but I need to look deeper, like what if he's streaky or legitimately great. He's promising enough from what I've seen, but his movement beyond last line of transition is what stands out the first, but it's also notable that he retains a lot of threat in behind and into the channels on a team that is very intricate in possession, and he shows a good sense of timing and awareness.
Strength as well. Can shove players up, bro. He ended this season in an absolute terror. I think he scored a brace against Celta Vigo. He was terrific that game. Absolutely terrorizing. He was terrific that game. I want to say against Cadiz, he also scored a brace. He ended the season with something stupid like 10 goals.
9 goals in April and May. It was awesome.
There you go. Yeah. So he ended up the season real hot, and that's probably how he got his move. But like I said, It also had to do with Gerard Moreno. He picked up an injury, I believe, a little bit before that, before April. So then they switched to a 4-2-3-1, and then just kind of ran it up with Nico Jackson up top. But yeah, man, him and Chukwueze, they just get after guys. Those dudes are ridiculously quick. Like I said, Villarreal, bro, they're gonna be a decent side next year. I would not put it past them to do a Europa League run or a Conference League or something. They're a good team, man. Technically gifted, defensively still smart. I like Pau Torres, always have. You got Alberto Moreno as well.
Me too.
Yeah, good team, man. Good team, and Nico Jackson's definitely a part of that.
We got 50 people tuned in on a Friday night. Appreciate that. If you're not drunk, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get a drink.
I'm sober, bruv. I'm sober.
Oh, no! Shame on you, Fatur! Speaking of sober and a sobering price tag, dude, Lice baby. Declan Rice is going to go for 100 million, not euros. No. Not dollars, not pesos, pounds. 100 million pounds for Casper the Friendly Dickhead. Declan Rice. Are you kidding me, Jared?
No, you're not. I'm not kidding you. That is actually what they're talking about. And
I can't believe it.
I've heard upwards to 120.
I mean, I can believe it.
Well, to quote the Gospel of one Juanito Minerales, West Ham is a long way from fucking Starbucks, bro. What is going on here?
I don't even know
To be
what that
fair,
means.
they just won a European trophy, so
Yeah, one that was invented to bring more teams in. Get the
well,
fuck
you
outta
still,
here.
if you're in it to win it, right? What are they supposed to do? Lose to,
If you're in a competition, whether it's whatever it is, and you bring the
I
trophy,
respect
home,
winners.
it's a trophy.
All right, fair enough. But let's get back to the topic. I mean,
Right.
you have to be as baffled as I am. This player is good. That's it. He's just good. 100
Again,
million?
Right?
the
Khalid,
weakest-
you see the trophy which he brings, and he's always been in the radar of Man City, Man United, not Man City, sorry, Man United, Arsenal, many other teams, and he has just won a trophy. So this is their golden ticket. This is their golden way to get the £100 for their rebuild. You saw how they sold Luka Modric, like the Spurs sold Luka Modric, right? They sold Gareth Bale, and they invested poorly, I would say, except for the Christian Eriksen. They invested poorly, but they tried to do the rebuild. And Liverpool did it with Philip Coutinho, but they did well.
Yeah.
And each of these teams are trying to sell their prized assets to get enough money for a rebuild, which could drive them to the next trophy. And that makes sense, which I feel we should do with some of our players.
How about you, Fatur?
I'm not really that fussed about this Declan Rice to Arsenal. You know, they can have him wherever they want. Apparently, this is the Declan Rice that people are overhyping about in our fan base. Shame on you, disgusting. And I'm glad I'm taking that bet, and I just need the payment to be, in my pocket right now because I really need it.
You weren't gambling, were you?
Make
Foster?
sure you go through stake.com.
No gambling. Mature, no gambling.
Stake.com isn't available here, bro.
What a full circle comment. Fatur! Yes.
I don't know
doing
even
a
how
bit
to use
of,
stake.com. Like
know.
what's it called?
There's
Is it,
probably a fucking app.
Look, Declan Rice will be the most overvalued player in history if somebody pays £100 million for him. He's a
Really?
50 million. He's
More
a
than Lukaku? Hold on. More than Lukaku?
More than
about that,
Lukaku.
there have been some
Uh,
goddamn stinkers for transfer.
Hold on.
well,
More than
this-
Anthony, who beats his girlfriend? Anthony? More than him?
I'm not
terrible human
gonna
being?
I'm not gonna get involved in something that hasn't been adjudicated yet.
Well, he's trash.
Okay, well,
I'll
that's
adjudicate
fine.
for you.
I don't think he's
allegedly.
trash. Nah,
Allegedly, if you do that to a woman, you're trash to me. But let's move on. Look.
But I'm just thinking of pure talent on the field. I'm not talking about anything else.
Yeah.
Tell me what Declan Rice does better than any other center midfielder in the world.
He blends in with the touchline.
Can anybody tell me?
He's good at it. To be fair, he's good at passing, tackles.
Did he do it better than Enzo Fernandez?
No.
If you see it in
If
that
you're
way,
playing the
Jared,
long-term game, you want to
always
go with
someone
an
better.
Enzo probably, but Enzo's more of an 8 and Rice's hybrid kind of 6'8", because he can drive with the ball a bit, Rice.
But I said, what does he do better than anybody else? Because if he's not a playmaker, if he's not an elite playmaker, if he's not elite in defense, if he doesn't have elite dribbling skills, he doesn't have any of those things. And you're paying $100 million.
Josh gave you an answer, and it's actually a good answer.
He does when the that's fair. That's fair.
He does that better
Caicedo
than
probably does it to a similar-ish level. Because I was having this debate with my buddy Andy because he likes Rice over Caicedo just for the fact that Caicedo is unproven, like in terms of his how long he's actually been in the Premier League. I don't really. They're two really good players, and to be honest, the market is always that's why these bargains. If you can get if we got Barella for 50 million, that's
Good luck.
terrific. I don't think we will. It'll be more than that, but you know what I'm saying? If that were hypothetically to happen, the transfer market is overbloated. Like the fees are crazy, but that's because the clubs are making crazy money, and some of them are putting it back in on the players. So
Yeah,
they're both really good.
I would agree with Josh. Caicedo's proven enough. He's a very good player. He's a very good player.
I'd say Caicedo over Rice. Caicedo has the athleticism advantage, I'd say. He probably has the energy in terms of, like, when you watch, he gets a bit busier, I would say, puts in a bit more tackles, whereas Rice, there is some composure to his game that I really like. I don't ever see him, like, scrambling, making reckless challenges, etc. He's disciplined. Technical skill set is pretty all right. Pretty good. Both of them are good for different reasons.
Joy D boy, buddy, you ain't kidding.
Of course.
Oh my God.
But here's the thing, right? Declan Rice is more of an overall stat. If you ask Jared which aspect of him is the best, it is his overall stat, the way he wins the ball. He's not best at one particular thing. He's good at many particular things, which makes him a very good player. If you ask me,
well-rounded,
£120 million, I wouldn't say that, but he is very good. And with this bloated and inflated market, £100 is just the England tax which we have on Declan Rice. If he is any other player like a German or Brazilian or any other country, he'll be worth around 70, 80 million, just like Caicedo. But since he's English, that 20 million
is it me or is it Shiraz like a robot now?
Why?
I can't even hear Shinat.
Oh, I can. It must be you, bro. It's not me, it's you.
Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Oh my
God. Oh, much better now. Flip.
Hey!
Sorry.
Welcome back.
Nice one.
Yeah.
But
he gave his microphone a cigarette and it was all good.
For me, look, I've watched Declan Rice play a lot of games. And
Yeah.
I've seen him have good games, and I've seen him just get torn apart. And people don't talk about this, but he's not a singular DM.
Definitely not.
He's never played really very many games as a sitting, holding defensive midfielder.
It's him and Socek.
Tell him
It's
the
him
other
and
thing,
Socek.
Jared. Tell him the other thing. Tell him what he wants to be.
He wants to be an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does like to get. Yeah.
Okay, this guy is not an 8 in any stretch of the imagination. If he's your starting 8, fair play.
Why do you think he's like kind of too clunky or like not dynamic enough? I guess, or doesn't like have that turn of pace or something.
Yes.
He's bang average. He's Mason Mount as a 6.
No.
Hey, if Mason Mount gets me 100, I'll be happy.
Everything you said about Declan Rice is that he's well-rounded. He doesn't do anything great. Is exactly what people say about Mason Mount.
What I would say the difference is, though, is that Declan Rice, we talk about Mason Mount. He'll occupy the spaces like on the wing when he's supposed to be playing here. Like, for example, he tries to play as an 8 and then ends up on the wing and occupying like Mudryk's space. I think that was one of the problems that I saw. Rice, for me, I think he tactically he's miles ahead of Mount. Like he knows what area he's responsible for. This is just what I see. I could be totally off, but yeah, he's like I said. It probably and I was just gonna wrap up with this. Like for me, it kind of makes sense of why Caicedo's going there or going to you guys and why Rice is going to Arsenal. Because, like, they could win now. So they need a guy like that. Whereas you guys probably won't. You could. It's possible, you know what I'm saying? But Caicedo over the next 10 years could be a demon for you. It looks like it.
So
Here's
it makes
one,
sense.
right, Steven? If I have 100 million, do you think I would invest on Rice or would I go for Caicedo and Lavia? I mean, I just put an extra 20 and go for both of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
True.
here's what happened to Jesters?
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure he'll be
he
back
probably
in
got
the top.
offended and left. All right, so we'll go around the horn here because I don't think Caicedo's is going to be enough. Oh, Jared hasn't lost his internet. He has a huge storm. That's fine. That's fine. Fuck it. We'll do it live. So I want to go around the horn and I want to ask everybody because I don't think Caicedo's going to be enough. I think they're going to go for 2 D mids, but they're not going to go for Rice. So let's resign to the fact that Caicedo's going to Chelsea. Rice is going to Arsenal. Great. Who's going to be the second D mid we buy? And I'll start with Alfredo.
I've got absolutely no idea.
Fair enough. How about you, Shrinath?
I want Lavia, or if we don't get Lavia, I want what's his name? Edson Alvarez from
Yeah, that's my guy. Fatur, what do you got?
I want Lavia. Mike Maignan, and I want a striker.
Okay, fair enough. And then Steven, I'm going to go with Edson Alvarez because I think he's great.
I got major concerns. Not as bad as Jorge Sanchez concerns, but like some concerns about Edson. I mean, everyone looks trash in that Mexico team. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I think he's good. I don't know. There's just something about him that like I just don't know. He's good.
He was breaking his back carrying that team.
Yeah, and I feel bad for him. I don't really. It's Mexico, but like, bro, I think he wasn't good at Ajax either this year. That's the problem. Everyone sucked though, and this is where you get in the whole debate of, well, this guy sucked on this team, so this needs blah blah blah. Like with the whole argument about, oh, is Lavia? Well, Lavia's in a relegation team. He's surrounded by crap. But then some people are saying, oh, Madison got relegated with Leicester, so that means you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. Ajax underperformed overall, like everyone did. I mean, Tadic had an all right year. Urian Timber, he was all right. He got the development down and all that stuff. So some other guys, they never really figured out where to put Calvin Bassey as center back or left back. So there were a few problems, a lot of problems for Ajax this year. But I like Edson. On the ball, though, I guess there you go. Aaron put it perfectly. He's purely a destroyer. So maybe that could work. That could work. But what I would say is like Poch, if you're looking at the Spurs days, all that midfielders were pretty damn tidy on the ball. With the exception of the Kenyan guy. What's his goddamn name?
I don't know. I don't live in your mind.
Yeah, Victor Wanyama. Thank you.
Yeah,
He's not great on the ball, but he did a job. So maybe that's the role Alvarez could play. Just don't pay exorbitant over the
exorbitant.
Alvarez. Yeah, that's where they.
All right, so we'll end with Kai Havertz, but I want to do a quick aside for Steve, one of the finest midfielders in all of the land, an Italian gem. If you have not watched this player, you've been living under a fucking rock. Nico Barella of Inter. He is linked heavily with Newcastle, and then Inter saw Newcastle's bid and laughed them out of the room because 50 mil ain't gonna do it, Steven.
No, definitely not. I who knows if it's true or not? Like I said, I'm not trying to get too hyped about it. It'll definitely cost more than 50 mil if we do get him for that. That's madness. But yeah, this guy is sensational. He fits right into that midfield three that we've got at Newcastle, which I like so much, again, because Joe Ellington and Bruno, they're so well-rounded, and then they're excellent at certain things. Bro, he is Barella. I mean, he just gets on the ball and makes things happen. He runs the play, he dictates the game. In midfield, the guy's pinging passes everywhere, from long, short, medium distance. Really, really gifted technically. Physically is not, I mean, let's not, mess around, bro. Inter physically against Manchester City in the Champions League final, they bossed them majority of that game. And Barella was part of that alongside Brozovic and Çalhanoğlu. So physically, Barella did not look out of place in that match whatsoever against the Premier League's finest. And he's also had some other great games. So, yeah, for me, Barella will be just boy.
Jared, I'm sorry.
Jared,
Hey.
weather the storm.
Yeah, but
I was leaving you backstage, bruv.
backstage, bro.
By the way, I do have a suggestion for y'all. If you want another defensive mid on the low, Ivan Ilic at Torino, young Serbian, 22 years old, can play as a CM or a DM. Technically gifted as hell. He's kind of like a deep lying playmaker. Bro, I think this guy is unreal. He was great for LS Verona. Now going on 2 seasons ago, and then with Torino, he did real well. Talented.
Steve is a motherfucking Wikipedia page, man.
I think we were actually linked to some.
Ilic?
I want to say it was, or was it? Did it start with an R? I can't remember. It was from one of the. I think it was from Torino, though.
So. Jared, before we get to the main topic to close out, which is Kai Havertz, just want after we buy Caicedo, who's the second D mid we're going to buy because we lost it to the Storm there.
Caicedo?
Yeah.
You mean? I think it could be Lavia. I know I just saw a snippet on Twitter before I got knocked off that. Southampton want £45 million for Lavia, and Arsenal's interested, but they think they don't want to pay £45 million. It's like they're not going to get any players because they don't want to pay any price. They want to play peanuts.
It's almost like Edu sucks at his job.
Almost. Well, we could listen to the Lee Gunner on that one. He hates the dude, but I think
there's no way that his last name is actually Gunner.
I mean, how do you know?
There's no that coincidence? No fucking way, man.
Well, you could say the same thing about my last name. My last name is freaking Mahala, and it's in a city in Ecuador, and it's the banana capital of the world. You know what I'm saying,
so
bro?
What? Do you have a proclivity for bananas or something? What are we talking about
bananas.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's so.
Bananas are probably my favorite fruit. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
Love them.
Okay.
They're very healthy.
If they're fresh,
again, I don't know who the second one is. I know Santos is going to be looked at. I know Caicedo is going to be looked at in the first few preseason matches to see what their ability is at the highest level. I don't mind keeping them because, again, we're talking about one game a week. Yeah. You don't need to have a huge squad. I don't think we're going to go over 22 or 23 in the squad. That's gonna be
No,
it.
as we shouldn't go over that. I mean, I remember, dude, for the most part, Conte played 13 players. When we won the league in 2016-17, he played 13 players the whole season.
Yeah, it's not necessary to have this huge ass squad. I think that Chukwuemeka could play as a 6 next to somebody more defensively apt. I think he's brilliantly talented. I think he's talented as hell.
I love him too.
I think he's probably the best. For me, he's probably the best center midfielder that England's produced in a while. I think I rate him even higher than Jude Bellingham as far as overall skill set.
That's a take, Fatua. That's a take.
That's how you do it. That's big bald take. That's what
you sound like Drip Bayless. All right, so Fatua, I want to start with you because you're guys with Mr. Popcorn Muscles Carefree Lewis himself. I fucking love Lewis, but this guy, this jabron, him and Andrew, they have been on me like white on rice about this Kai Havertz business. So I want to hear it from you. All right, if we sell this fucking guy, and he all of a sudden plays attacking mid along with Odegaard, and he balls, will I get an apology from the Chelsea Fan TV contingent, Alex and all of his goddamn cronies? Because you guys have been on Havertz all season, fucking shitting on him, devastating him. If you're wrong, I'll be coming for that ass, Fatur.
Oh, okay.
Hey man, I don't want to be involved in this, man. I just want to sit back and watch the chaos, man.
You think he's gonna bang? I think he's gonna bang at Arsenal.
What? Okay, define bang.
No. Let Fatur go.
Sorry, Fatur.
At Arsenal, I'll be real. Like, it all depends what the system Arteta going to put him, because we see him play as an 8, as a 9, as a 10. I think Havertz is a 10 to 9 because of his link play between the lines and his ability to attack the box from deep, similar to, let's say, Dele Alli type, particularly in the way that both were tall and lanky, but still possess a range of crafty finishes and tight space control. But number 10 in the 4-2-3-1 formation have largely been replaced in recent years, and we've been kind of like tasked with adapting to a 4-3-3 as a deep lying 8 or as a 10 on one side of the pitch, where the ball striking is the primary requirement to excel as part of the system. And like with I think with Odegaard, if he pulls out with Odegaard, I think it's instead of operating in the central areas and sticking there, then like you can have, I think Odegaard must play in half space on one side. But in Arsenal, if they don't have enough qualities or creative qualities like the aforementioned, let's say, like KDB, Griezmann, or Fernandes, and that, then it'll struggle. I think the evolution of the solo number 10 is that we didn't have unstoppable ball striking turned to false 9. But even guys like, let's say, Firmino, the countless midfielders at times, like you've seen Pep Guardiola, the way that he won 5 out of the last 6 years in the Premier League. Like he's been replaced by a centre forward who can do it all, like Erling Haaland. I think with Havertz, he doesn't do that enough, even though he can play at the number 9 to a decent standards. He's not that elite player as well. And he's not even a reliable outlet and loses a lot of physical battles with defenders.
Alfred?
Man, I think if he goes to Arsenal, he will obviously look better, probably significantly so, than he does at Chelsea, because compared to us, they're fucking phenomenal in attack. You know, we have been shocking. Right? So he's going to get a lot more opportunities to show what he can do at Arsenal. And that is going to be more telling than anywhere in his career about his quality as a player. So, look, for us, it hasn't worked really for whatever reason. Maybe it's just because he's been unhappy for a while. You know, that could play a big part in it. But Yeah, look, I'm not very worried about them getting better or whatever, because like I've been saying, if we do our own thing, then I'm happy to just let him go, get a decent amount of money for him, and he can just go and do whatever he ends up doing at Arsenal. But if we do what we do as a team, and bring in our own correct reinforcements and ball ourselves, then it's not going to mean anything to me. I'm a bit conflicted, because I don't know if it's because he's a bad player or because he's been unhappy. So now I'm kind of excited about the prospect of him staying and seeing how he does under Poch in a new system and rejuvenation, a rejuvenated team. But at the same time, I just keep thinking about the last few seasons and remembering that for whatever reason it just hasn't worked out. And again, is it because he's just not had the motivation, or because he's not good enough? Do we want to take that risk? I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens.
Steve?
I mean, for me, here's the thing, right? If Havertz joins Arsenal, I don't know if I don't think he gets in that starting 11. Let's assume Xhaka is sold, right? But then, all right, let's say they bring in Rice, so that's the Xhaka replacement. Look at Arteta and the way he uses subs. It ain't that great. It really ain't that great. He was forced into using Nketiah because Jesus was out after the World Cup injury with Brazil. So, bro, Trossard player of the month for them in March, and then he gets benched all of April. If I'm mixing up my months, let me know. I think that's the right order. Tierney on the bench when Zinchenko is, the Liverpool game, West Ham game, that kind of thing, making clear mistakes that were obvious for everyone to see. Yes, I know he packs in the midfield, but then there's that whole space that's neglected. And you don't bring in the left back, and then when you bring in the left back, you tell him to do the inverted thing when he's just a good left back. I think Arteta overcomplicates the hell out of a lot of things, and I think he is a manager that wants to stick to his starting 11, and the bench he doesn't really pay that much attention to. How much significant game time and minutes did guys like Emil Smith-Rowe get? Tierney, Nketiah. I know they're not the best of the best options. I don't think Havertz is one of the best of the best options. He's all right, but he don't make that starting 11. And again, I just think Arteta, the way he uses the bench, bro, he rotates in the games that he shouldn't in terms of the cup games, and then they wonder why they crash out of the European competitions and FA Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever. Bro, if I'm Havertz, does he replace Jesus in a starting 11 as a false 9? I don't think that's a good idea.
Well,
Same with Odegaard.
Go ahead, Jared.
let me put a nice little bow on this bad boy.
Well, you got to have Shrinath too. We need Shrinath too.
Okay, well, Shrinath go, and then I'll bow it.
All right, you're going to bow it.
Okay, regarding Havertz,
Riddick Bowen. Jared Bowen. Jared from Subway.
Good freaking.
No! No chomo.
Man.
Jared is having the barbecue sauce. All right, Havertz. I still love him for that awesome final goal. I still believe that there is potential in him, but he ain't playing as a attacking midfielder means that he ain't playing his potential. That's my take on it. And something tells me that he's not going to go to Arsenal. Something tells me he's going to land either in Bayern Munich or stay in Chelsea, and things are going to be good for him after that. That's my take.
Jared, what do you got?
First of all, I told you to watch for Bayern in this space.
Huh?
And lo and behold, here comes Bayern. Don't be surprised if he does doesn't end up there, because what they can do is offer him a huge bag of money. I know Arsenal's going to offer him what, 250? Yeah, look at probably 300,000 to 400,000 is what he'd be getting paid by Bayern.
Their
Okay,
wages are huge.
They do, especially if they can move some of the forwards out of that team that have been underperforming as of late. You could see him going in that direction. Do not rule that out, because Arsenal's going to get to their top dollar and not pay anymore. And if Bayern outbids them, we're going to take the most money. That's just the way this game works. Second of all, if you're paying £60 million plus and paying a cat £250,000 a week, he's starting for you.
Yeah.
I don't care. Don't say, well, where would he start? I don't know, but he is going to start. You don't pay that kind of money to put him on the bench. That's just not going to happen. So whether it's Fartinelli going to the bench or Gibraltar guard going to the bench, I don't know who it is, but somebody's going to the bench, because you don't pay that kind of money for a bench player. You just don't.
I just don't know. I agree with you. That's what people common sense would do, right? If you're paying that big bucks. But Man United are paying a lot of money for Mount. I don't think he starts for them.
Mason Mount will start day one at Man United. Mark it down on your calendar. I said it today. If he's
where? Like next to next to Casemiro, I'm assuming.
Well, first of all, if you think that Eriksson was playing a 6 role this year, I don't know what you've been smoking. Yes, he
definitely wasn't.
He was playing attacking mid.
He was playing as a deeper 8, if you want to call it, because Casemiro was basically on his own.
Yeah.
So he will overtake that role, and it'll be Bruno, Casemiro, and Mount. That's going to be your midfield 3. Second of all, just so we can get this understood, Arsenal are not making top 4 next year. You heard it here. They're not making top 4. Their team is highly overrated. Everybody had career years this year. Everybody.
Let me interrupt you. Fatur, do you think AFTV would benefit more from Arsenal tanking or Arsenal having another season like this?
Oh, hard to tell.
Oh, tanking. That's the answer.
It has to be. Trafficking and negativity is better for views.
Yes, it is.
Hard to tell, man. I'm not sure, you know.
I mean, I'm sure people got bored of Ty saying.
You sure now?
Awesome.
I think they benefit from the winning as well.
No. Because
both ways.
Because we like to laugh at them.
Yeah.
So non-Arsenal fans tune in more when they
I didn't
lose.
watch a single video from AFTV this year. I watched almost every one of them for the last 3 years prior.
That's right.
Yeah.
Before DT went to jail, all of DT's videos, all of them, man. It was hilarious. It's the bold Robbie. All of that shit, man.
I think Arsenal. Sorry, go on. Sorry, my bad.
No, sorry, man. I was just imitating DT. So, when's it gonna end, Robbie?
He's croaky, Robbie.
Look, Carlito. I know you love Havertz and all that, but don't you think that Arsenal would be much better if they spent that money instead of on Havertz? I know you don't want him sold, but if they want to, don't you think Arsenal should be going for a striker? I'm saying they should get Jonathan David. I've been banging this Jonathan David drum for a while, bro. I think they need a striker.
Steven, first and foremost, this is what Jared said in the start of the stream. Arsenal would bid big, but they cannot fill the promise. They cannot go for the big players.
Jonathan David is going to cost near and around Havertz. He ain't going for like 90 or 100 from Lille.
It'll be much less than that. Jonathan David?
That's just because he's coming. That's just because he's coming from Lille.
Yes, exactly. He'll probably cost 30 mil.
No, not 30. No, not 30. Absolutely the fuck not. We'll go for like 60, 65.
So
that is outrageous.
What do you mean? No, man.
Havertz is around 60, 70 mil. Mason Mount is another 70 mil. We can go on for the Chelsea chest, which would come around 200 to 300 mil. Tell me the Arsenal budget. Whom are they selling? How much have they got?
No, what I'm saying is I think Arsenal, instead of buying Havertz, they should be buying Jonathan David. So whatever money that Havertz goes for, if he goes to Arsenal or Bayern, like Jared thinks, which I'm not. God, oh man, I'm not. We'll lose the league if we sign him, and we get these Tuchel signings. Sort of fucking. Anyways, it's another conversation for another day. If Arsenal go buy Havertz, that's dumb because I would have rather. If I were Edu, I would have gone for Jonathan David instead for apparently much cheaper. From what you guys are saying.
Okay.
I think he'll bang in more goals. Very good at penalties, the movement, link-up play, good passer. Like, for me, he's more involved. He's Jesus, not in terms of the dribbling necessarily, but definitely in terms of, like, the chemistry between the between the wingers and all that. I think that's much smarter for Arsenal than Havertz.
All right. Well, I'll say this. I don't want him sold domestically. Any player of ours that's good, outside of Kova, who's got a year left on his deal, Havertz has 2. Do not sell them domestically. Do not strengthen our rivals if we have to. I don't think Mount going to United strengthens our rival. I think it makes them lesser. That's just me. I mean, Minerals Mouse is an average player. I would like Havertz to go to Bayern Munich, and I think that he will go to Bayern Munich. Whether or not that actually happens, I don't know. I'm not a journalist. If I was, I'd be a lot better than the ones that are. So last thing I'll say on all of this is get these right because you have to. These are crucial positions. Goalkeeper, probably the least of the crucial positions, but still important. D-mid, very important. Striker, very important. The people that I want, number 1 up top, Dusan Vlahovic. In the midfield, I would like Edson Alvarez, Moises Caicedo. Goalkeeper, I would like to go for Manuel Neuer. That is what I want. And on top of all of that, with this whole betting sponsorship thing, leave your morality.
What it is.
Leave your morality at the door. I have no interest of it when I'm trying to watch football. Life is hard enough, and I don't need my conscience working overtime. No, thank you. I will take the money, and we will get a new sponsor next year. This has been The Barbecue. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We had a wonderful stream. Averaged a little under 60 viewers on a Friday night at midnight to 2 a.m. is not bad, and we'll continue to grow this. As for the merch website, we'll be having new merch coming out very shortly, worldwidechels.com. Go check it out. We'll be having new blogs come out as well. We're really going to turn this company around with the help of guys from the outside like Fatur and Feroz. They definitely help out a lot. Steve as well as the guys that are on the inside, which is the rest of the people on this panel. We love you guys. And again, we'll be doing this every Friday, 5 p.m. my time, midnight UK time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll always bring the minerals. We'll always bring the vitamins. We'll always bring the hot sauce. And most importantly, we'll always bring the king of Chelsea media, Carlito Esposito. See you later, boys.